All right, so where was I? I had to pause the video for making sure that I had the memory and the battery to continue this conversation. Uh, so now we're back at the hotel Thursday afternoon. I'm thinking, okay, I think we're good. I think I'm ready to leave because of something else that I had discovered. I was done. I'd gotten all the bottles that I wanted for this trip. We could stop at Four Roses the next day, Friday, and get another barrel pick or two, and the trip is over. Like I got everything that I wanted, and more with these Russell picks. But my dad, he looked at me. He talked to my stepmother, and he said, "Davis, come on, let's go to Louisville. Let's have a good time. Let's try to make this into a real experience, and just go to Louisville. Let's go on, just go to Louisville. Stay an extra night." Because I did actually have to work on Saturday, and I didn't want to drive the whole night Friday and then be completely wiped out Saturday. But we ended up going to Louisville. And it was nice. It was really nice. We went to the Evan Williams Bourbon experience. I had the opportunity of buying a Evan Williams 12-year if I did do the tour. Said no, not for $160 plus $20 for the tour. I'm good. And then I went to the Bardstown location there inside of Louisville. And what do you think fate has in store for me? A Bardstown Discovery 11 for $139 with a little tax. And my oh my, this little guy, less than $150. What a beautiful bottle, and extremely happy with getting that. Extremely happy. We drive to Frankfurt. We leave the city. We drive to Frankfurt. We go back to Lexington because the plan is we're going to drive home the next day no matter what. But I get an itch. I decide I'm going to go to a local liquor store and see if they have any good store picks. I go to a store and I walk in, and on the shelf there's nothing impressive, but I find a Discovery 11 for $139. I go up to the counter, I pick it up, I go to the counter, and I say, "Hey, would you take $120 cash for this?" He says, No, not with that bottle, not with that bottle. I said, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah, not with that bottle." But start walking back with the bottle in my hand. He said, "But how much does that cost?" And I said, $139 plus tax. I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "You sure?" He's like, No. So I turn around, I put the bottle back on the shelf, and she says, "You know what? Yeah, I'll do 120. What? She says, "Yeah, I'll do 120 cash. It's your lucky day, man." My smile was so big. I grabbed that bottle faster than you'd believe. I had no qualms. Got a second one. I now have two for an average cost of $135 pop. I'll take that. Wonderful. Got my regular and a backup. Now I'm really ready to go, and I don't want to jeopardize anything at this point. I don't know what to say. Oh, and in between us going to Louisville and after the You Do You Bourbon experience, I stopped at Jim Beam. Didn't like it. I thought it was very corporate. We did get lunch at the kitchen table there. That's a restaurant they have. They had no Knob Creek store picks, single barrels that were distillery exclusive that you could buy. The restaurant had two. Guess how much they were? $80 and $90 a piece, and they were 8-year picks. 9 year picks. The rye was over 8 years old. That I was tempted to buy. And they had Hardin's Creek on the shelf. I asked if I could buy that. Nope. Anyway, I went to the Four Roses at Cox Creek location and found a lovely barrel strength floor 6 OESQ, 122.2 proof, 9 years old. Robust flavors of red fruits, allspice, and oak are balanced and layered in rich aromas and flavors of this 9-year-old. The mouth coating finish is warm and lasting. It's an OESQ. I love OESQ. It's my favorite recipe. It's also the hardest to find in single barrel form. Either people love it or they hate it. It just doesn't make it out. It just doesn't make it out. So when they're picking barrels, so I picked this one up. If you're keeping count, that's 5 barrel strength, all picked by master distiller Brent Elliott. And so at this point, I'm thinking to myself, I'm ready to go home. But I really wanted to stand in line, like actually stand in line and actually get a chance at getting a good bottle. And from my favorite distillery too, Heaven Hill. So what do you think I do? That night, I tell my dad at the hotel room, Dad, I'm gonna wait in line all night. I said, what do you mean? I'm gonna get there at like 3 a.m. and mind you, I'm in Versailles, so it's an hour drive there in the middle of the night to go stand in line until 9:30. Dad says, okay, I'll sleep in. And little did I know, as fate would have it, I got the funny feeling in my head, like I can't sleep. It's 11:30 at night, and I've only been lying down for like less than 2 hours, and I think, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna go. So I pack up my car. I drive an hour there. It's 12:30 at night, and I sit and wait at the distillery parking lot for 8.5 hours, not knowing what I'm gonna get. There were some people in line later on that had done some tracking, that had tried to guess what it was going to be. And the day before it had been Old Fitz. The day before that it had been, I think it was Heaven Hill and 18. But the day before that it was Grenades. And for at least the last 3 weeks, Heaven Hill had been releasing Heaven Hill 18, Old Fitz, Grenade, VVS 13, very, very special 13. So for the last 3 weeks, they had been just knocking it out of the park, and there had been very limited number of bottles. I didn't know this at the time, but I was first in line. I waited 8.5 hours in line. They said, the people in line said they were obviously experienced. Remember, the longer it takes for them to come out and tell us if it's going to be a good day or a bad day, the better. I asked them why. They said, well, they usually come out like 8:30, 8:45, and they'll tell you if it ain't nothing special, if it's like a bad day. If it's 9 o'clock and they come out and say it's going to be a good day, it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. So 9 o'clock rolls around, guy comes out, really nice gentleman. He says, it's going to be a real good day. It's going to be a real good day. Little did I know what that meant. Line up. I'm sitting there. I'm standing there. I don't know what to expect. Doors open. I walk up to the door. I ask, what do they have? And as luck would have it, the highlight of my trip, the absolute gem of my trip, I got a VVS 13, baby. The first one in line. They had 64 bottles. And there was like 70 people in line. And I was the first one, baby. Look at that, babe. Oh my God. This is the VVS 2024, the 25th anniversary bottle. I paid $229, $243.79 with out the door taxed, and that was at 8/2/2024, 9:33 a.m. 9:33 with 21 seconds a.m. And VVS 25th Old Fits 13-year edition. I didn't even know what to say. That just made my day. So I was floored. I could barely speak. I drove, an hour back to Versailles. I decided I would stop at Wild Turkey one last time, because at that point I'm tapped out. I don't want to. I'm just gonna buy another one of these Russell's Distiller single barrels if I can, and then I'm gonna go home. I do that. I buy another one. That's 3. And they also have a Kentucky Spirit, $65. Camp Nelson D. And it is unfortunately not age stated. Rickhouse number 11 from barrel 2775, and it was bottled on 7/9/2024. There's no age statement, unfortunately, but man, I don't see CNDs like Camp Nelson D warehouses very often, and I just thought I gotta pick it up. So this was honestly the best trip I've ever had in my life, and I've gotten luckier than I had any right to ever be, ever. My dad, and mind you, if my dad had been in line, if he had waited all night, I would have 2 of these. But here's the thing. If my dad hadn't convinced me to stay, I wouldn't have this bottle at all. If my dad had told me to go the day before and wait in line, and I got the Old Fitz 10, I would not have waited in line for this, because I thought, are they really going to put out a really good bottle the day after they put out Old Fitz 10? No. I got a $500 bottle for $100, or $200. Yeah, no. I wouldn't have stayed for this. If he had come and we had both stayed up all night, I would have missed work Saturday today, because I was so zonked out that I could not finish driving, and we would have had to wait an extra 2 hours. Like I would have had to sleep in the middle of the day for 2 hours. No, my dad took over. I could nap in the car, and he was fully rested, and that was, yes, I could have gotten a second one of these, but that's like, you find a diamond ring on the ground, and you say, what the hell, man? What? A diamond ring on the ground? Why aren't there 2 diamond rings on the ground? It's like, oh. Like, what? What, are you kidding me? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm just so happy that I managed to get this bottle. I'm so happy that I got these Discovery 11s, because they don't distribute them in New Jersey. And there's oodles of these. There's so many of them. And this is the closest thing to Wild Turkey 13-year that I'm going to get. I got 2 recipes of Four Roses that I have never had before, and my favorite recipe at Barrel Strength in a completely different expression. I got some amazing Heaven Hill juice that is like, I'm looking at these single barrels, right? Like this 11-year here, this is 11 years old. I could put my 2 fingers here. I can see this like clear as day. When I put this up to the light, this is 11-year-old OBSQ, Four Roses, Tier 5, 124 proof bourbon. Okay? I can see that. This, I can't see my fingers. And I'm right there. This is, ooh, I mean, if you could see the difference in color, this is a dark, beautiful bronze. This looks like somebody polished a piece of bronze 1,000 million times and scratched it up and bore it down so badly that what was once a reflection is now a dark spot of brightness on that piece of metal. I am so happy, and I got some amazing single barrel selects from Wild Turkey that was a complete surprise, and I had a wonderful time. I got to spend so much time with my dad, and I got to have a wonderful, wonderful vacation. It was worth every penny, and I am so glad. I'm so happy, and I just cannot even begin to put into words how thankful I am to my dad. And I already decided with this bottle that if I ever have kids, I'm not opening this bottle until I have kids, and I will have my first sip of this bottle on the day that any of my children are born, and then when they turn 18 or if they turn 21, they will also have a sip. This is the most expensive and special bottle in my whole collection because it commemorates the first road trip that I spent with my dad, and the first time my dad and I, as adults, as men, in my adult life, that I spent more than like 5 hours with my dad by himself. And I'm just so happy that I got this bottle. And I'm so happy that I spent that time with my dad. And it just goes to show that life, in its multitudes of mishaps and small errors and fickle decisions and just spontaneous acts of justice and desire to want to prove something to your imaginary self or to something, and just having the willpower and the determination to go and do it, and just to happenstance your way into some things completely out of your control. To get this bottle is truly special, and it's priceless to me. I don't care how expensive it is on the secondary market. I don't care if they release 1 million bottles of it and it goes to zero. This bottle means so much to me, and I am so happy that I got it. Completely unexpected. I didn't pay secondary. I have pictures to prove it. I was loud and proud in that line, and when I walked out and I said, the day before there were 2 guys behind me in line, I saw them in the same line the next day, and they were like 40th, 30 something in line, or like close to 40. And they asked me, I shouted at them, "Hey guys, how's it going?" They're like, "Yeah, good man, good for you, man." I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, and they asked, "What time did you get here, man?" I said, 12:30. And they go, "Oh, 5:30? 5?" I said, "No, 12:30. Their jaws dropped. And I go, "I am not messing around. I will not be denied." I shouted that in front of 80 people at 9:30 in the morning. And they all just laughed. Like, we were all just happy. And when I said there was at least 64 bottles, they did have like at least 64 bottles there on the shelf. They were so happy because we just didn't get the bottle the day before. But little did we know that if we got that bottle the day before, we wouldn't have gotten this. I mean, where's the motivation? They would have gotten there at the same time the next day, and they would never have gotten the bottle. I think there was over 70 people in line, and they only had 64. And people were still coming in at the same time that those guys got there. I digress. Thank you for listening, and I hope everybody has a wonderful night. I hope you, Davis, who's watching this, I love you, and I hope you're watching this in a time in your life that you need to. Ooh.